comes a time in every girl's life when she's really got to ask herself, sometimes to ask herself, is she ready to be unsteady? I mean, do you want to be honest, like honest, you know, one honest, one first just let's say, well, first of all, let's see if they one day Johnny asks me if he can stay for a
3 important rules for breaking up.
Welcome back. This is episode 3 of Between the Lines with my wife and I, Pedro, Tiana.
Yes.
So today we're going to take you guys back to my time in Kentucky.
We got married on November 7th, 1998.
98.
Then he left on November 14th?
15.
15
Yes.
to basic training.
Yes.
And so I had to we were married a week before he got, what is it, shipped out or what is it?
Shipped out to basic training.
To basic training. So I had to stay home for about 6 months.
Roughly.
So because he was in basic training and then he had to do school, which is his job. Well, his second job. Your first job would be what?
Infantry, I guess. That's what they always say. Yeah. They always say your first job is infantry.
That's like your primary.
Whatever. Yeah.
And then were you like A1 tank mechanic?
Yeah, I signed up to be a M1 A1 tank system mechanic, which is working on the main battle tank. At first, it was everything but the turret, so I didn't work on the gun system or anything like that.
Okay.
At first, I didn't go to school for that, but yeah, I just went for the other part.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, while he was gone doing basic training, he'll talk about that. But I was home and I had like 6 or 7 months before I knew that I was gonna go and fly. I think at that point we didn't know where we were gonna go.
Right.
It could have been, I think the choices were like Kentucky, Hawaii.
Yeah.
Is there another one?
I put in. I don't even know if I put in for Germany, but
Germany.
But
so that time when he was doing all of that, I was at home with my family, and I was contemplating, should I look for a job while I wait, should I just go to school? While he was in basic training, when he was in school, and I spent all the money, and I had like my first like official cable bill.
Oh yeah.
And I like bought my own food, you know, I felt like all independent.
Yeah.
Whatever. So he did basic training, he did school, and now they told you that what?
I was stationed in Kentucky.
Stationed in Kentucky. So I had to take a plane. First time I took a plane in my whole life, ever in my life. A week or so before, my husband told me, you know, while I was packing my stuff and everything, he was just like, all right, it's hot in Kentucky. I was like, okay, you know, like, it's hot over here too. It was like hot, and I was like, okay, I'll wear shorts, which I didn't wear shorts. So like I said, I got really nervous about the plane ride. I remember that.
Really?
Really nervous. Because I was young, never took a plane ride in my life. I've never even been, I've been to like TJ, but other than that, I never left California. Never in my life I've left California at that point. So I was really nervous about it. And so he just really emphasized on wearing shorts, summer clothes. So Pedro, tell us a little bit about your basic training experience, your school, and finding housing. How was that?
Well, like you said, it took me about a week before I shipped out. I landed in Kentucky in November, and I remember getting off the plane, right? Mm-hmm. And then we went to the USO because we have to report, and then we go outside because the bus is there. So it was like, for whatever reason, I think we missed or there was a layover, so we were late. So it was already like maybe like 2 or 3 in the morning by the time we got to Kentucky. And we go outside, and I'm like, smell really like. I said, what's that smell, right? I'm like, and then my friends, well, not my friends, but the people that I went with, they're like telling me that's air. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, but it doesn't smell like that at home. It's like, yeah, this is fresh. This is what fresh air smells like. I was like, wow. I was like, smelled really like clean. I was like, this is awesome. So, you know, so we're on the bus, and I'm trying to, the sergeant that picked us up, he says, hey, get as much sleep as you can, because by the time you get there, it's gonna be morning, and you guys might not be able to, you might miss breakfast. And sure enough, we missed breakfast, so we didn't eat. We got there, and everybody's like, oh, I know, everybody's all, you know, friendly or whatnot. So and then past reception, you know, when we get to reception, finally we get our uniforms, and everybody, all the drill sergeants there are like, hey, you know, have some chocolate milk, you know, drink some soda.
That's nice.
Yeah, they're saying, you know, you guys want to use the phone, go use the phone.
So they're acting cordial.
Oh yeah, they're super nice, right? And I'm like, oh man, this is how it's gonna be. It's gonna be cakewalk, right? I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, whatever, right? And then we picked up all our stuff, and then they're like, all right, hey, get ready, because they're gonna pick you guys up now. I'm like, who's gonna pick us up? Because I thought you guys were our guys, right? In my mind, they're like, yeah, your drill sergeants are gonna pick us up. I'll pick you guys up, and right.
Yelling?
I'm here like screaming and yelling. I'm like, what the hell is going on, right? I'm like, whoa. And I look up, and I see a bunch of drill sergeants, and I see her yelling. And I'm like, they're like, yeah, pick up your bags, pick up your bags. I'm like, oh shit, I pick up my bags. At the time, it was like a packing list, and we didn't even need that. We didn't need anything, because everything that I took, I didn't even use, but the shampoo. So all the extra chonies and socks that they said to pack and everything, I didn't even use it. So I was just carrying 2 bags. I had 2 army bags, a rucksack, my bag. So I was filled with bags. So remember, it was just reception, my building.
Straight down.
So they literally walked us all the way around this way, around back to our, and they're like, beat your faces, and I'm like, what's going on? But I don't know what beat my face is, right? So I'm like, I'm getting ready to punch my face, you know, punch myself in the face, like, bam, 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 right? So I'm like, oh, dude, if I don't do it, it's almost gonna beat me up, right? So I'm like confused, and they're like, that means do push-ups, idiots. I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm like, do push-ups. I'm doing push-ups, and I'm doing push-ups, and I'm doing push-ups, and then all of a sudden I hear more drill sergeants coming out of like different buildings, and a lot of yelling. I'm like looking up, and then I'm like, I hear people, I want to quit, and I'm quitting. They're like, what? That first day we had like 8 people quit, and I was like freaking out, dude. There's like a bunch of drill sergeants everywhere. Everybody's pushing. People are like crying. People are crying, right? And I'm like, wow, what the heck is going on? I'm like, why are you crying? It was like, you want to just push ups. So red face, you couldn't do anything. We messed up so bad in red face that we had a minute to eat and 30-second showers. So that was finishing the shower in the sink. And then my school was in Kentucky, so I went from the basic training barracks to what they call the Disney barracks. And that's where they had like a movie theater, and they had like a PX and like fast food restaurants.
Is that why they call it the Disney?
Yeah, we had a little more freedom. Kind of cool. It was cool. I had a drill sergeant named Cox, and he was from Texas, and he was weird. Like he would and it'd be like this. I'm saying today, tomorrow, and yesterday, and he walk away. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, dude, drill sergeant Cox was crazy.
Talk about the housing.
They're like, all right, let's go pick a house. I'm like, what do you mean, let's go pick a house? Just like that, look, I get to pick a house? They're like, yeah. So they give me a list.
Like it was a luxury.
Yeah. They give me a list of addresses. And we went driving around. And I was like, nah, I don't like this one. Nah, this is kind of weird. And then I picked the one that was on the main road. I don't even know why. I'm dumb. With no furniture.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
No furniture.
We had no furniture.
So I was sleeping on in my sleeping bag, and my pad, and everything. That's how I slept. I had no TV. I had no refrigerator. I had nothing.
I went to an empty house.
Yeah.
So when I got there, let's continue about the shorts thing, because my husband told you, wear shorts, Tiana, please. Just wear shorts. And I was like, yeah, okay. But I didn't. Because
I drove to the airport. It was night. It was already nighttime. It was dark.
Oh man, was it?
Yeah, it was already dark.
And it was hot.
It was dark. I remember it was like this, dark.
Wow.
And I saw you come off the plane, and I saw your face.
What, did it turn red?
Oh my goodness! The minute that it seemed like when you got out of the air-conditioned airplane and the heat hit you, it looked like it took.
It did.
Like
It
part
did.
of your soul. Like
It did. Like I didn't expect it to be that hot, and that the humidity of Kentucky is like
no
a
joke.
sauna. Like it's disgusting. Let's talk about our friends.
My friends, I had.
He picked the friends, by the way.
I had two. I had a bunch. I had a group of friends, but I had two friends that I got really close to. They became almost as close as my brothers that I didn't really want because they were like white, a little racist. But nah, I'm just kidding. I love those guys. I love those guys to death. One of my good friends had the guy that I work with really close. He had problems, so they told him, hey, sleep over at my house. I'm like, cool, whatever, you know. And then I'm like, they're like, hey, Hearn, can he sleep over your house? I'm like, yeah, you know, he can sleep over my house until things cool off, no problems. And then our other friend heard, and he's like, oh man, these guys are breaking up with their wives, so I gotta break up with my wife, right? So he decides to start up some trouble with his wife. They're like, we're gonna go to the bowling alley. I'm like, yes, well, go ahead, go to the bowling alley. You know, I'm not your dad, you know. We go to the bowling alley, and
Did you go with them?
no. And then they come back. They come back and they picked up chicks, right? Remember, they're married. I wouldn't say they picked up chicks. I said one with decides to come to my house and she's like, boom, 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 Hearn, boom, boom, you know, bang like she's a cop. I'm like, Hearn, Hearn. I'm like, what was going on? And her name is Bobby Joe. I'm like, what's going on, Bobby Joe?
You're gonna say their names?
You know?
Oh my
no,
God.
no, because it's just funny. And Bobby Joe is anybody, you know.
It is funny.
You know, it's just a funny name. It's just anyways. So I'm like, what's up, Bobby Joe? And he's like, she walks in and he's there, and then she sees the girl that he was sitting with, and she chases him around the house, right? So she starts in the front room. They go around to the dining area. They go in the kitchen. She grabs a knife. He runs through the door and through where the washroom, through the laundry room is. He closes the door behind him. She chucks a knife. As the door closes, boom, the knife hits the door.
It stabbed the door.
Stabbed the door. He grabbed her by the neck and he said, you don't do this. This is not your effing house. This is my friend's house. Get the F out of here. I'm like, dude, chill out, dude, chill out. What's going on here, right? I'm like, man, what's going on, dude? I was like, this is just supposed to be a sleepover, you know? And then sure enough, here comes my sergeant. And then here comes his sergeant, like, Hearn, what
I
happened?
thought your friend's wife came, the other one.
Yeah, the other one came.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And then here comes his wife. And then she's like, what happened? I'm like, you know what happened? It's like, so who did it? I'm like, you know who did it? So it's like, okay, well, don't worry. And then the other one, the Bobby Joe was like, Hearn, I'm gonna tell your wife, you know, you cheated, you picked up these girls, and you did this, and you did that. And my other friend's wife, the one that you know, she was like, don't worry about her, and I know it wasn't you. You're okay. You're good, and all that other stuff. And then my sergeant told me what happened. I'm like, well, this guy freaking decided to join the party. He thought we were partying, and they tell him, hey, you know what? Go home. You know, you can't stay here. So, but my other good friend, we wound up staying at the house, and we were just laughing. We were laughing because
The drama.
man, drama like almost every day. That was our friends. That was my good friends, and I still talk to them till now, to this
Yeah,
day.
so they're gonna hear this?
They're gonna hear this. I hope so. So if you guys hear this, hey, you gotta learn you.
That's funny.
Hellfire, hellfire, bro, hellfire, hellfire, hellfire. I got staples on my leg.
Oh my God, Pedro.
Cause that's how it was. It was more like regular life, but not really, cause we were super young, no money and stuff like that.
No money. And I remember he picked me up. I don't know what kind of car we had at that point. I think maybe a truck.
Yeah, a white Ford
truck.
Ranger.
Oh, okay.
Ford Ranger.
Yeah, I guess we got a truck.
We're super poor, and at that time I think it's called ACR Army, AAR or Army Relief Program or something like that.
That's how poor we were.
And we went and there's where it's like a warehouse and you get to pick free furniture from I guess old other soldiers that left their furniture behind in their homes or they donated. So that's where I picked up the bed that we had. That was our bed. The couches, the little coffee table that we had, our 1930s washer. Remember that old brown washer? That's where I got it from.
Small.
Super tiny little washers.
So small. Everything in our house was used.
Yeah, it came with a refrigerator, so that's one thing. Yeah, well, that's one thing I didn't worry about. Our dishwasher leaked. Remember, it was always leaking, so we never used it. There was mold inside. There was mold growing inside the house.
Okay, was the projects.
Yeah.
But without the like the
shootings.
cholos and the shooting, like the crime of it and the hood of it.
Yeah.
Without any of that, other than that, it was just like the projects. The official job was working at the PX, which is Post Exchange, and it's like a mini mall, right? It's like a mini mall, and I worked at the food court at the Burger King Express. That was my first official job.
Yeah, it was, huh?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Did I like it? Not really. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I really didn't like working there. The people, you cannot get too close to people because people come and go. So if you made a friend, they could be gone like in a few months.
It's true.
You know, so people just like, what is it, alternated? Rotate, yeah. So it was a lot of that going on. I worked there for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I talked to people, but it wasn't, it wouldn't have been good if you got like really close to anybody. I worked with really young people too. And maybe we'll stop here and we'll continue that conversation in the next video.
Oh, the wartime?
Maybe the deployment.
Okay, that's harsh.
We'll talk a little bit. No. We'll talk a little bit on that. And so thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, that was episode 3. That was our Kentucky time. There are more stories, but we don't want to make it too long, you know.
Because this is already pretty long.
Yeah, it's super long, so I'm gonna have to do some work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's our Kentucky time. We have more stories, so if you guys have more questions, just pull us to the side or DM us, and we'll be more happy to tell you more stories as far as tank stories or the field, when I was out there playing war before the war. Mm-hmm. We can talk about, I don't know, little things here and there. Oh, like the time we went to the zoo. Stuff like that, So, thank you for watching. Again, this is episode 3. That was pretty